Okay, time to talk The Mandalorian, this chapter 19, The Convert, after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and as we start chapter 19, you recall that we had been to Mandalore. Mando has stepped into the waters, and despite being pulled under by this creature, Bo-Katan jumps in, saves his life, and we find them at the beginning of this episode where he's recovering on the banks of the waters, and does not remember seeing anything under there. He just knows that he went in the water, and Bo-Katan decided that she wasn't going to argue the point, and they made their way out and headed back for her planet in the Mandalore system, which had her palace. However, they find that they've gotten some company from formerly Imperial interceptors. Some warlord, obviously, has got his hands on some, and they're being attacked, and they manage to, through some creative means, fight them off. But then, upon reaching her palace, they find that it's under great attack by more interceptors, more than any warlord would have, and it's been utterly destroyed. So Mando invites Bo-Katan to come with him, and they both head back to the sanctuary the Mandalorians have had for some time. That's where the armorer is, who seems to be the current authority of the Mandalorians, at least the sect that Din Djarin has been in. We get ahead of ourselves because we cut away before they're able to arrive there and see a whole different side of the New Republic. And what we find out about them is that they have some kind of amnesty program for people who were cooperating with the Empire. And one of them was Dr. Pershing. He was the lead scientist on the clone experiments that created the clone warriors. However, I'm a little confused by this. I perhaps need to read more of the Star Wars lore to understand why, since the Empire did away with the clones in favor of the Imperial stormtroopers, just exactly how his work with the Empire was actually done, or what he did for the Empire. Was he dealing with clone troopers at all, or just was that his favorite research before the Empire came about? Nevertheless, he got it in his mind that it would be a good thing if he were to resume his research under the New Republic. They told him that any kind of cloning or research into it is strictly forbidden. However, he meets Elia Kane. Elia Kane also served on Moff Gideon's ship, and she said that, we passed by each other so many times, it's a shame we never really introduced ourselves. And she says, what you want to do, I can help facilitate. And so, despite the fact that he's very reluctant to get in any kind of trouble, he's doing a rather mundane desk job, going over Imperial technology to be scrapped. She's able to persuade him that he could do better things, and all they need to do is to break a couple of rules. And so we see something of the amnesty program that the New Republic has, and the fact that while they talk about it being a whole lot better than the Empire, it sounds very much like Animal Farm. This is better than being under the farmer, say all the animals on Animal Farm, as they create an even more unjust society. We're not so certain that the New Republic is all that unjust, but it's certainly leading toward the First Order, which would happen in the last trilogy of the movies. And you can see kind of the seeds of some of the things that they did in order to try to reform the people who were cooperating with the Empire. The fact is that while some of their methods were using things that could be used for bad purposes, their intent was good, but it was so easy to take that and corrupt it with just somebody you trusted being in the wrong place. So that's what we got out of that. There were a couple of good lines. Mando to Bo-Katan, they tend to get mad when you hijack their ships. I thought that was kind of an interesting observation on why they were under attack. However, we don't know exactly why her palace was bombed, but when they did arrive at the Mandalorian outpost, not only was Din Djarin cleared of his disgrace, but they also cleared Bo-Katan, who really wasn't there to be reformed, converted, or any of the other such, but suddenly is finding herself in very friendly company. And so it'll be interesting to see if she is interested in keeping her helmet on and becoming a part of this society, or if her own individual principles that would isolate her as she's been before would continue. So this is an interesting thing to watch as we move along here. We see multiple stories popping up here and there about what is happening all around them that may come together before the end of this season. So I'd like to know what you think about this. Please subscribe to the channel if you've not as such already. And of course, please click a like button for us. I'm not certain whether that does us any good, but it couldn't hurt. And that is something that might help us in the YouTube algorithm in getting more people to watch us and to allow us to increase our audience and our influence here. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, don't go far.